void of political games. Tell me, can you see it? Tell me, can you see it? Or are you blind to the truth? Can you imagine a place where love is exchanged, where courtesy is shown and they remember your name, where giving is abundant, no more asking for change? Oh, if seeing was believing, can you imagine a world that has no pain? Can you imagine a place that is void of political games? Tell me, can you see it? Tell me, can you see it? Or are you blind to the truth?
Think on this. We've shared some scary statistics tonight. Like 18 million children around the world in sex trafficking. That means against their will, they are being raped, sexually assaulted. And they did nothing to earn or deserve this. Or how about this? 400 to 500 girls a month here in Georgia alone are brought into sex trafficking. You see, when we hear those figures, things are made more real, but they're still a little far out there. You see, I'm a father. I have a 6-year-old son. And I have nieces right around the age that most girls are taken into child sex trafficking. So I make it personal. I think about them being taken advantage of. If that's not enough to make you want to do something, I heard another scary thing when we were in the process of learning about child sex trafficking. We heard something that messed us up. A 5-year-old little girl being raped. And when the man couldn't fit himself in her itty-bitty body, he cut her. Now you see, my response was much like your response. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this. But you know what we often do? You do what I do after hearing statistics and things like that over the years. That is a shame. Somebody ought to do something. And then I go home to my middle-class life with my middle-class wife and my middle-class house and live comfortably. And it's as if I never learned it. My life isn't altered in any way. I felt bad for a moment. Oh, somebody needs to do something. I'll pray. And then I go on and act like it doesn't exist. At some point, something stirred up in me and I couldn't just sit and watch anymore. But you see, there are several reasons to do something. I'll give you just a few. The first reason, it's humane or the right thing to do. Now, see, we could argue about things like racism. You know, is the N-word bad? Well, black people use it. Well, we don't know. Well, see, he said it in the way he said it. He said it with an R and he said it with an A. So, you know, is it really? You know, we can argue about that. We can discuss that because there's a little bit of gray in it. And you may disagree as to where the gray is, but that alone shows you that there's some gray. But when you talk about taking a 12, 11, 9-year-old girl and pimping her out, it is wrong every day of the week. I don't care who you are. I don't care where it is. I don't care how far around the world it is. It's wrong. And we need to do something about it. Here's the second thing. The second reason is because we have a personal experience. A personal experience is a strong reason to do something. You see, as a child, I was at a babysitter's house and the babysitter's daughter sexually molested me. So I feel a personal connection to a child being taken advantage of. You may know someone who has a rape experience, or you may know someone that was kidnapped. You may have a personal experience that connects to this, and you may care very deeply. And also, it's because it's slavery and these people are being held against their will. Guess what? I am African American. I'm a descendant of a slave. We still know what a plantation is in Little Washington, North Carolina. That's where my people were held as property. And yeah, we moved up to a little urban town called Burlington in New Jersey, and we moved on. But guess what? I'm a descendant of slaves. So anytime I hear slavery, I care a lot about that because it's wrong. 30 million children around the world enslaved, owned by someone else. It's wrong. And here's the last reason. Here's the reason why we're doing this show tonight and we've been gathering attention to this issue. It's because God cares. God cares. You see, when Jesus hit the scene for the very first time, when he first hit the ground and he was explaining to people who he was, he went back and he grabbed some scripture that talked about him 500-600 years before he ever hit the scene. And this is what it said. I've come to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and release from darkness for the prisoners. See, for me, that's the driving reason, because Jesus cared. He came to set captives free. And who am I to go back to living my middle-class life and not do something when little children are being put into slavery and pimped out? It's not enough just to shake my head and go, oh, so sorry. We got to do something. If we decided to do something today, we could stop sex trafficking in our lifetime. But first, you have to believe that you are not too small. You are not too insignificant. You are not too unimportant to do something now. You can start right here. It starts with a text. It starts with a donation. It starts in a place of prayer. But our feet need to start moving to do something. What are we going to offer a holy God when we stand before him? And he goes, what did you do for the least of these? And we go, I cared a lot about it, but that was about it. You see, this is just a thought, but if you actually do something, it could change a young girl's life tomorrow. Can you imagine a better world? Can you imagine children not being held as slaves anymore and actually being able to play and enjoy life? Can you imagine something better for these girls and these boys being pimped out? Because if you can't imagine it, you'll never do anything about it. It's just a thought. And I want you to think on
it. Can you imagine a place, no blood on the streets, no famine, no starving, there is plenty to eat, where self-sacrifice is not so seldom seen. Oh, if seeing was believing, can you imagine a world that has no pain? Can you imagine